Okay, the train is gone. It is beautiful out here today. Absolutely beautiful weather. It's a little hot. I'm not going to lie. I think the side-by-side said, what was it, 99?
99.
99 degrees. But so we'll try to not hold everybody up here. But this grave right here, now like I showed y'all, this is Selkirk McCoy. Long before the Hatfield-McCoy feud reached its bloodiest day, there was one man who found himself caught between two worlds at war. His name was Selkirk McCoy. He was a Confederate Civil War soldier enlisting on December 31st in 1852, and first cousin to Randall McCoy himself. Now, Selkirk was born on March 5th, like the stone says, in 1830 in Pike County, Kentucky, to Asa McCoy and Eleanor Burris McCoy. He later married Louisa Williamson McCoy, and together they raised a really big family. Now, like most of the people living here, Selkirk's life was not defined simply by his last name. The families still worked together, they traded together, and often depended on one another to make a living and during hard times. As a matter of fact, Selkirk here was believed to have worked in William Anderson Devil Anse Hatfield's timber business. Imagine that. Giving him close ties to the Hatfields despite being a McCoy family member. His name became part of history during the famous hog trial in 1878. Randall McCoy accused Floyd Hatfield of stealing one of his hogs. Rather than settle the dispute with violence as usual, they took the matter to a local jury. Selkirk McCoy was chosen as one of the jurors. When the votes were counted, Selkirk had sided with the Hatfields, helping decide the case in Floyd Hatfield's favor, and became another one of the events that helped to deepen the Hatfield-McCoy feud to a personal level. It also showed that loyalties were often more complicated than simply being a Hatfield or a McCoy. As the feud grew more violent, Selkirk's friendship with the Hatfields made him a target for his own family and all of their friends. During Frank Phillips' famous campaign to round up as many of the Hatfield supporters as possible, Selkirk McCoy here was arrested and taken to Pikeville, Kentucky. He was accused of being involved in the murders during the New Year's Night massacre. He was jailed by his own family, basically. But there wasn't enough evidence to support the charges against him. They simply couldn't prove that he was there because most likely he wasn't. So the case was eventually dismissed, and Selkirk here was released, and the charges against him were dropped, and allowing him to return home to his family and live out the rest of his life here in the mountains. Selkirk lived nearly 2 decades after the height of the feud. He died on June 25th in 1908 at the ripe old age of 78. More than a century later, his grave still serves as a reminder that the Hatfield-McCoy feud was never simply Hatfields against McCoys. Sometimes it was family against family. And behind those famous family names were neighbors, friends, and relatives whose real lives were actually much more complicated than the larger-than-life legends about them would have you believe. He survived the feud, even though it was up close and very personal, and he survived the Civil War too. To me, those things alone are pretty impressive if you ask me. What I'm wondering right now is what unknown stories about the life and times of Selkirk McCoy, what kind of stories could he tell if he were here right now that absolutely nobody knows anything about? Wild, isn't it? Real life history You know, you hear all the stories. I know you're about like we are, you know, about history. Kevin he's just as bad as the rest of us. He's just as bad as the rest of us. But, you know, just to be standing here, you know, I mean, we are, how far are we from civilization? Well,
10 miles.
We're a long way
10
from,
miles.
we're a long way from civilization. Just out here in the middle of absolutely nowhere, nestled in these mountains, just outside what used to be the old ghost town of O'Keefe that we just came through. But we thought we would stop up here. You know, we were, Kevin and I, we were planning this trip out today, you know, to come out here. And it just, you know, well, how about we go up O'Keefe to the ghost town, and we'll go up and see Selkirk McCoy, go visit him. And we've done it. There he is.
Two history nuts, just paying their respects to Selkirk.
That's right. I mean, you've been to a lot of the sites now, haven't you?
Yes.
We've been to a lot of them together.
Yes.
We have been to a lot of these old historic sites together. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I loved every minute too, and I thank you for that. I've seen things that I never would have saw without you. So
well, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you too. But it's been a fun day. We've just been out, you know, like we said, just out roaming around in the air conditioned side by side. Of course, that don't help much when you get out, does it?
No.
But anyway, like I said, you know, I just wanted to, you know, have something and, you know, to share with you guys since we were coming up here anyway. I came up here once before and visited his grave, but I didn't really do a story about it, you know, to be honest, and just seemed like a really good time to do it, and, you know, have my buddy here with me when we do it.
The air conditioner is cool, but history in Leo is cooler.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm cooler than air conditioning, huh?
Way cooler.
I don't know about that.
Way cooler.
I don't know about that. But it's a beautiful old graveyard. I looked around just a little bit the other time that I came up and documented the ones that I could find. But, I mean, you know, just to walk up, you know, oh my God, that's Selkirk McCoy. I knew he was around here somewhere, but...
Hand-cut stone right next to him.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of McCoys. That's a Betty McCoy. There's several of them all through here. There's quite a few McCoys.
Much larger than it looks. When you get up here,
Yeah, even just driving up the railroad tracks, all you can see is a couple stones. But as soon as you get up here, you can see they go back into the hills too. They go back into the weeds. Really cool old place though, huh?
Beautiful. And, you know, we've said middle of nowhere before. This is the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I seem to wind up getting myself into some predicaments.
The cool things are off the beaten path.
From time to time. But anyway, I guess we probably need to get out of here. But it is really cool though, to come out and find these, you know, these old places like this, and to be able to share it, you know, to share it on YouTube and bring friends, you know, bring a friend up here. And, you know, hey, look, Kevin, this is Selkirk McCoy. You know who I'm talking about. Of course, Kevin, he knew exactly who it was. As soon as, you know, Heather asked him last night, night before?
A couple nights ago.
If you wanted to go to Selkirk's grave.
No need to twist my arm.
But that's wild, isn't it? Randall McCoy's cousin. I mean, the guy, like I said, the guy lived through the Civil War. He lived through every single minute of the Hatfield-McCoy feud. You know, there was some that came into the feud later on in the picture, you know. He was there from day one. Selkirk was there from day one through the entire feud, lived through all of that, and survived the Civil War. It's really interesting to see that most people think that, you know, all McCoys fought all Hatfields, and that's just how it was. It was a family feud, and it was a family feud. But it wasn't simply by name. It wasn't Hatfield and McCoy. You know, there were a lot of gray areas. You know, I guess just like these days, you know, just like our lives, there's a lot of gray areas, you know.
Kind of ironic that you had brother versus brother in the Civil War, and you even had, you know, family versus family in the feud.
Yeah, he experienced the whole thing, you know. He was one of the few. He was one of the very few that experienced it from both sides.
For me, I think it would be somebody like Levice. What did she hear laying in bed at night? What kind of, you know, what did she take with her grave that no one will ever know.
That's true. That's true. Well, I would imagine there was a lot of stuff that they had to keep secret in the family as well. You know, just because it would cause strife, and you know, imagine that there's probably 1,000 stories that old Selkirk could tell. Wouldn't be surprised at all, would you?
And I would love to hear them.
I would too. I would too. Anyways, Kevin mentioned it's not a very long grave. Of course, you know, wonder if that might have been the original stone there. What's that say? It has a K on it. Let me get down here. K? I can't make it out. It's McCoy. Huh.
K for Selkirk, maybe?
Hard to say. Hard to say. It says K McCoy. But a lot of these...
True, that might be the original.
Yeah. And a lot of these, you know, to be honest, a lot of them, they're just old field stones. You know, they tend to get knocked over and somebody sets them back up 50 years later. And you may be on the right spot and you may not. You know, just to be honest.
The ground, for whatever reason, could have been hard. That could have been a little soft, and
you know, we just
put it there.
We just put that right there. Yeah, it's the same grave, same spot. But you never really know, do you?
From start to finish.
Start to finish. Selkirk McCoy, Confederate States of America. That is some wild history.
Very wild.
Very cool old history. Buried way out here on the side of a mountain, outside of a ghost town, in the middle of nowhere in southern West Virginia.
Hot, steamy southern West Virginia.
Yes, very hot, very, yeah, it's like a jungle out here today. Kind of looks like a jungle, steamy looking, you know, out through there, that murky looking. What we got? Oh, it's a truck.
Truck, yeah. You're going in reverse.
Well, I guess we probably need to get back down to Becky and Dean. They're probably about ready to start throwing rocks at us. Anyway, guys, like I said, we just thought we'd break out the camera while we were up here and tell y'all a little bit about Selkirk here. Kind of share a little bit with you. Anyway, we'll see y'all shortly.